Decima. And in the blue corner, fighting out of Corpus Christi, Texas, weighing in at 123 pounds. His professional record consists of 21 wins, no defeats, with 16 KOs. He is the undefeated USPA Super Bantamweight Champion, Jesse Benavides.
Okay, you know the rules of boxing. Avoid using any kinds of foul. Headbutt, elbow, holding, low blow. Okay, seconds come out fighting.
And the final instructions from referee Carlos Padilla. Good look at Pedro Decima and part of this good crowd on hand here at the Sports Pavilion in Caesars Palace. A non-title affair scheduled for 10. And here we go. Pedro Decima in the white with the blue trim, the South American Super Bantamweight champ. A record of 20-1 with 13 KOs. Jesse Benavides in the gold trunks. He is the USBA Super Bantamweight title holder. He's 21-0 with 16 knockouts. Born in Corpus Christi, Texas, makes his home now in San Antonio. His manager and trainer, Tony Ayala Sr., was telling me that he got a bad label in Corpus Christi. He was kind of bad rap, that he was going nowhere. They thought of him as an amateur fighter, an Olympic fighter, but he's come a long way. He's got him doing a lot of things like chopping wood and strengthening his upper body, and he's getting a lot of respect.
You know, also being a converted right-handed fighter, his lead hand should be his strong hand. So his jab should be a good, strong jab, and his hook, his right hook, should be a good, strong hook.
Ordinarily, a converted southpaw means a natural lefty who fights conventional, but Benavides just the opposite. His right hook is his power punch. He's working on his left with weights. Meanwhile, Decima in the white with the blue trim. Good all-around fighter. Very respectful of Benavides. His watch tape says he's very disciplined and a good worker. Whoa! And down goes Benavides.
No knockdown, Steve. He was pushed down.
That got a rise from the crowd. Was it a push or a slip? It was a push.
It was a push.
Past the midway point of round one.
But what that has done is given Decima a lot of confidence. He's walking in winging punches now. And Benavides looks like he's being very, very cautious.
Decima's best weapon, a right hand, and Decima has never been knocked down.
Decima is moving the right way to fight a southpaw. He's trying to keep that left foot outside Benavides' right foot.
Hopefully for Frank Tate followers, he will remember the same thing. Because Michael Nunn is a southpaw. That's coming up later, the IBF middleweight title. You can hear the corner of Jesse Benavides. That is Tony Ayala Sr. So after a spirited start, things are quieting down a bit here at the end of round one. Under 30 seconds.
Good right hand by Decima. He's a good, strong kid.
Benavides won the vacant USBA title back in '87, a hotly contested decision over highly regarded Greg Richardson. Final seconds, round one. And we'll follow Benavides back to his corner with Emmanuel Stewart, Tony Ayala Sr.
Let him get too many shots off.
And
You got
Fred
knocked there, okay? That's
All right,
you're
you
letting
go.
the man punch too much. He's playing the number game. You're letting him punch, Jesse. You got to get off on that man some, okay? Let him start the jab and try to make you a little half a pivot shot on the jab and then come back with the left and come back with the right hook. Simply a case of the man is shooting punches if you only land 10%.
Remember that push or slip? Let's take a look.
It looked to me as if Decima hit him with a right uppercut on the chest. No, it looked like it was on the chin. And he was a little off balance, and down he went. I think it was a clean knockdown.
So there is a good argument for a knockdown, and they ruled it was a push. So that had to instill tremendous confidence in Decima.
And take away the confidence of Jesse Benavides.
And round 2 scheduled for 10, a non-title affair. But you've got 2 champions here. Benavides in the gold, the USBA Super Bantamweight champ. Decima in the white, the South American Super Bantamweight champ.
Now Benavides is moving the way he wants to move. Last round, Decima had him moving the way he wanted to move. When you fight a southpaw, it's really a tough job. You just have to concentrate so hard. You know, the old-time managers used to say when a southpaw is born, he should be drowned at birth. And that's how popular they were.
Benavides in the gold, the southpaw. Doubling up on the left and then roaring in with a right. Decima, incidentally, is a tremendous golfer. So if things don't work out in this area, he's got a 0 handicap. I asked him who is his idol, figuring he was going to say a boxer. He said Roberto Di Vincenzo. Just remember to sign your scorecard at the end of every round. Right by Decima, a glancing blow, and now Padilla with some words. There's a left and a right combination by Benavides.
There's that right hook that Decima has to watch out for. This Decima is a good fighter, Steve.
He comes off a second-round knockout over Californian Alan McAtokie back on May 27th here in Las Vegas. His only defeat to Ramon Soria, but he got even in the rematch, knocking him out in the second. Last fight for Benavides, wearing the gold, was May 29th in Houston when he KO'd James Phipps in the second round.
Nailed with a good straight right hand by Decima again.
Decima missing with the right, and Benavides able to counter. A lot of movement by Decima.
Decima looks like the stronger of the two, Steve.
He is an action fighter. Under 30 seconds in round 2. Less than 10 seconds in the second round. Good counter-punching by Benavides. And that'll do it for round.
Thanks, Frank. Back to ringside.
All right, Wally, as we begin round 3, scheduled for 10. Of course, tonight could be the first step in catapulting the winner between Tate and Nunn into future dominance in the middleweight class. Meanwhile, these are super bantamweights. 2 very talented young men. Benavides in the gold, 24 years old, 21-0, 16 knockouts. Decima in the white, 20-1, 13 knockouts, and both are champions in their own right, but this is a non-title fight.
You know, you talk about champions, Steve. I know there are so many different organizations now, and each one has its own rules. But in pre-organization days, this was when the champion fights and his title is not on the line, they called it an over-the-weight fight. That meant that the challenger had to come in over the weight, or he could claim the championship if he won. Now, Decima is under 122 pounds, and we missed it.
Decima with a sharp right, flooring Benavides, Gil.
6, 7, 8.
A ferocious right by Decima. And Benavides stunned.
He must have heard you say he can claim the championship, Steve.
Down goes Benavides again for the second time in the third round.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
And he gets up at 9, past the midway point, round 3.
And he says he's all right. He is far from all right.
And Decima goes right back to attacking Benavides. And Benavides in tremendous trouble.
There's a minute to go, Steve. It's going to be a tough minute.
Can he survive the third round? Decima mauling Benavides, and it's all over. Carlos Padilla waves it off, and Pedro Decima has defeated Jesse Benavides.
Now, Steve, will he claim the championship?
Well, he is the South American Super Bantamweight champ. He
Right uppercut, Steve. That was the same punch that he went down in the first round from that they didn't call a knockdown.
So in actuality, he was put down 4 times in 3 rounds.
All right, now Benavides is very, very wobbly, and you can see Decima is a good finisher. Right hand to the body, knew enough to go back down to the body. And here's the end of the fight, with Decima pouring it on, and Benavides helpless on the ropes, and Carlos Padilla steps in and stops the slaughter.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 3 knockdown rule being in effect in the state of Nevada, referee Carlos Padilla stops about at 1 minute, 55 seconds. Of the third round, the winner by a TKO, Pedro Decima.